Hey guys, my name's Khalil. So I'm a sports chiropractor from London, and I just wanted to show you this video because a patient of mine dislocated his shoulder, and I helped work with him trying to get him back to normal, but we also addressed some of the issues that led to the dislocation in the first place. And I thought it'd be useful for you in case you're struggling with rehabbing a shoulder injury or you're just trying to get back to going back to the gym. So let's have a look at what happened.
You. Come on, don't give up. Don't fucking give up, come on. Don't give up, don't let go.
So as you can see, he was lifting quite heavy, about 40 kgs. I'm not sure what that is in pounds, 90 pounds, something like that. Last couple of reps, shoulder just gave way, all right? So the weight came down, weight went that way, shoulder went that way. Not good. And that's how most dislocations happen. I mean, you can dislocate your shoulder in other ways. You can land on an outstretched hand, you can, fall onto something that way. I mean, there's different ways to do it, and different injuries cause different damage to different areas. Does that make sense? Now, when this first happened, obviously he couldn't move his shoulder. So one of the first things that we did was just try and get him to start to slowly move his shoulder around. Just very, very gentle movements, trying to, just create motion in the area and trying to jumpstart that healing process. As well as that, I did a lot of isometric work with him, okay? The reason we did isometric work is because isometrics are very safe. When you do concentric or eccentric work, which is basically when the muscle is shortening or lengthening, it puts a lot of stress onto the joint. Isometrics don't cause shearing forces, so there's a lot less stress on the joint. Also, it doesn't promote inflammation, which is exactly what we don't want more of after an injury. So isometrics are really, really good, especially in the beginning, to get back normal strength. And that's why we did a lot of work with him on that. As well as that, isometrics can help guide the way that the new scar tissue forms, because when you dislocate a shoulder, essentially you tear the ligaments, okay, or you severely strain them in the shoulder. And so now those ligaments have to heal. Now the isometric will help you to heal in a better way. It'll help align the fibers of the collagen so that they heal like that, rather than kind of like this, which is what happens to in most cases with most people, is that they have an injury, say an ankle sprain or shoulder injury, they don't really do a lot to it, and the new tissue kind of forms like this in a bundle, okay? And then later on they hurt themselves again. Why? Because now this new tissue can't move very well, all right? When you do isometric, the muscle tissue and the ligamentous tissue form like this in lines, and that's better because then it can contract appropriately. So it's very, very important that you stimulate the right areas, especially after an injury. So as you can see here, I'm working on an external rotation isometric with him. So I'm placing his hand up on the block and I'm getting him to push down. Now, this was very difficult for him at first because he didn't have enough range of motion to go there. And that's also one of the reasons why he dislocated his shoulder in the first place, was because he didn't have very much external rotation. So now when you don't have that much external rotation, when you go into an overhead press, which requires a lot of external rotation, what's going to happen when you get tired? Weight comes down, shoulder goes that way, weight goes that way. Not nice. Okay, and that's also how most injuries happen. If you don't have enough range of motion, and then you put yourself in a position where you're at the end of your range of motion and there's a 40 kilo dumbbell pulling you the other way, you're going to go the other way. So it's very, very important that you have enough mobility to do what you want to do. And in his case, he didn't have enough, which is why he dislocated his shoulder. As well as that, I worked on some flexion isometrics with him, trying to get his arm overhead. This is really good working on lengthening out the lats so that he can get his arm above his head, because one of his goals is to go back to overhead pressing. I'm getting him to focus on keeping his ribs down, staying tight to there, and only moving through the shoulder. It's very, very easy for compensation to happen, especially in shoulder flexion, because the ribs will flare, everything will go up. It's not good. So we're really trying to target those lats and trying to lengthen them out. So if you let the ribs flare, that's cheating. As well as that, we worked on some eccentric external rotation and internal rotation. Okay, eccentrics are very good later on because they help train the muscle to become a bit longer. Eccentrics can also make the muscle tissue much longer, which is very good. Sometimes we can use eccentrics to increase range of motion. And to be honest, most injuries happen eccentrically when the muscle is becoming longer or the joint is stretching. Not very many injuries happen when the muscle is shortened or the joint is becoming a shortened position, because it's very, very difficult to injure it that way. So eccentric training is really, really, really important, especially when you're recovering from injury or you're trying to work on preventative management of injuries. So these are two different sessions that we're working on here. As you can see, he has a discrepancy in his range of motion. You can see he cheats a lot when he moves around, which is very normal. I'm trying to use the ball to limit his cheating so that he can't sway side to side, so it becomes true shoulder movement. And lastly, one of the things that we really want to work on was his shoulder control. So now I use the controlled articular rotations, which is part of the functional range system, if that makes sense. One of the things that the controlled articular rotations do is, number one, it's very good early on because it pumps fluid into the joint, and it also pumps old fluid out. So it gets all the old inflammation out and gets new fresh blood inside. As well as that, now that he's increasing his range of motion, he needs to know how to control his shoulder. So we're working on teaching his brain how to control his shoulder in many, many different positions, which is really important, again, for preventative management of injuries, or to work on the issue that caused it in the first place. That's it. So from that position, try to drive your elbows up, drive your arms up, keep your ribs down. Good. Hold it, hold it, hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. So that's it. Good. Down. Try not to rotate your body. Keep your chest down. Keep your chest glued to your knees. That's it. Hold it, hold it. Hold, 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 hold. And down. How's your mobility training, Lava? It's tough.
Yeah, it's hardcore, man. It's hardcore.
So now that he's back to normal weightlifting, he's feeling pretty good. He's still working on a lot of his rehab exercises, similar to what I've shown you now. I'll try and get another video with him later on to show the progress that he's made, which to be honest is quite good because he was very, very stiff to begin with. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm gonna have more content just like this. Check out my Instagram channel as well. We'll give out a lot of free stuff. Take care, guys.